I wanted to point out some of the differences when you're looking at other ATVs, some of the things you get, some of the things you don't get when you're looking at your traditional brands like Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Honda. I knew that I wanted four-wheel drive, fuel injection, and independent suspension. And if you get all of those in the Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and you get all those in the 400 range, you were probably somewhere in the $7,500+ range. Way back at the end of 2018, when I was looking to, get a new ATV, or not necessarily wanting to get a new ATV, I was looking online and I saw a shop out in western North Carolina, like right near the mountains, and they were selling these things brand new out the door for $4,700. And if you know anything about ATVs, you know that's a really good price. So I went there and I bought it, and at this point I'm still very happy with the 450. But just some things to note where I think this maybe has some advantages, and I don't know if you call it a slight disadvantage, but just some differences. If you go and you buy a Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, when you get your front and your rear racks, they're always metal, so you've got a metal rack where the tops of these are plastic. And so when I first got when I got it and it was plastic, I was like, I wasn't really a big fan of that because it was plastic. But now over time, it's really grown on me, and it's not a big deal at all. And they're very functional. They work well. They're very durable. So I've got no complaints with those. And with the front rack area, this bar you see going around here, that was something I had to add extra. I want to say that was about $89 or something like that at the time. Just helps any of your gear obviously not slide off. But the cool thing about the Polaris is you can open this up and you've got a great big storage area, which most other ATVs don't have that. So this Polaris has a real nice storage area. And in the back, not what I say underneath the seat, I don't mean when you raise the seat up and move it, but I mean back behind. Let's just look at it. Right here, you've got another really deep storage area, and it goes probably, I don't know, almost to the back of the seat. So it's probably 8 or 10 inches deep and probably 6 or 7 inches wide. It gives you plenty of storage. And something else that's cool is you can buy these little things here that'll slip into these holes, and you turn them and tighten them up, and they lock in really tight. So if you want to have extra places to attach a bungee cord. And underneath all these side metal parts here, right underneath it, is a little channel cut out. So it actually makes a good hooking point. So you can hook in right there on it. Another thing to note, like when you buy a Honda and those other brands, the Japanese brands, usually you'll get a grill, some type of grill that, protects your front. With Polaris, you don't get that. So I had to buy this extra. So there are a few things on the Polaris that you have to buy yourself. So they kind of give you the bare bones, but you still get a really nice ATV. And another thing that's really cool about the Polaris is all ATVs obviously have, your two front headlights, but Polaris gives you the headlight between the handlebars. And so that's kind of cool in terms of being directional. So if you're going down the trail and, these are faced one way, but you want to just kind of look over at something, you can stop and turn your wheel and you've got a directional light up there. It also has a pretty informative display that shows you a lot of good stuff. You can see that since I've had this since 2018, I've only put 28 hours on the engine. So I found a lot of advantages, especially with the price when I bought this in 2018. And I still like it a lot. It is very reliable. All I do is when I put it up, just put the trickle charger on it. And, every time I go to crank it, it cranks right up. It goes, no problems, no issues. Except for one tiny issue that I had since the day I bought it. And that is in the front. I don't know if it's this front tire or the other front tire, but there is a slight brake squeak. And you don't hear it when you're going, when I say fast, I don't mean like you have to be going 40 miles an hour. But if you're going 15 or 20 miles an hour, you can't hear it. But if you're just creeping, you'll hear it as the tire turns. You'll just hear this very, very faint squeak. And I took it to the dealership, literally a few hours after I had it, and I'd ridden it around, probably hadn't put 5 miles on it, and told them, I was like, hey, I'm hearing this noise. They said they went in there and did something. It got better, but it didn't totally fix it. So that's the only complaint that I've had with it, is hearing that tiny little squeak on it. To me, it's no big deal. But just something to note that, obviously it shouldn't be there. If you're ever looking for a used ATV and you find one of these 2018 Sportsman 450s, I would say, definitely consider it, because they're very, very good machines. Mine's proven to be very reliable. A lot of good storage space, and they're all going to have independent suspension. And another thing to note about the Polaris is they're all-wheel drive and not just, limited slip type four-wheel drive. So when you hit the selector switch, which is on the handlebar up here, and put it into all-wheel drive mode, all four of the tires turn and they're all locked in and they go, which, obviously helps you when you're in situations where you need some more pull and grip. The Polarises are controlled by a lever right there for low range, high range, neutral, reverse, and park. So there's no foot shift or anything, completely automatic, which they have their pros and their cons.